Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Everything here is good. I got my furnace condensate pump yesterday and replaced it. Everything's fine. So I told you that last week I have taken ownership of software that I wrote for at my previous employer that I brought with me to this employer, and then was given back to me because they don't want to host it anymore. And I said I could finally talk to you about it. So let's do that because, oh boy, I am very embarrassed by it. The software is called Plaid, P-L-A-D. It was created at my previous employer, which was called RESA 7. There was 7 RESAs, Regional Education Service Agencies in my state, and we covered 12 counties of the state for educational services. We supplied teacher training, audiology. I was an IT person, so we would travel to schools in 12 counties and do all that sort of work. We also had to report our activity to the state legislature. And it was literally every month, every employee turned in this form that they would fill out and said, I did this and this and this. And the director wanted an easier way for people to do that. And so they asked me to create some software that they called SID, a System of Integrated Data. And I said, sure. So I created SID for RESA, and it worked out well. It was a very easy to use, simple. I've always taken the idea of the shortest amount of clicks to get a task done, because if you have to navigate, you're not going to do it. And the whole point of it was to do it. So based on SID, one of our counties said, listen, we'd like to get rid of the professional learning software that we currently have. Can you build something for us? And I said, absolutely. And so we talked it over and decided I would build it for them, and they would be the first customer. They would help us figure out the software, and then we could try to sell it to our other counties. So I created Plaid, which was originally titled the Professional Learning Attendance Database. The idea is that teachers in this state are required to take 12 hours of continuing education every year. Some counties also require them to take an additional 6 hours of curriculum instruction, I think they call it, or something like that. So I created this software for teachers to be able to report that they took a class or that they attended a class. And the reason was the counties that don't use software are still doing this on paper. And there are still counties doing this on paper. I have had meetings with counties that especially their transportation departments, their bus drivers have to take continuing ed also. Somebody is sitting down every year and filling out, like, taking these papers, these attendance reports, and saying, all right, this person was here, and counting up hours by hand. That's still happening. The idea for my software was that the county could put in a list of approved courses, and people could enter attendance for those courses, or people could enter in attendance for a course that they were hoping to take, and the county could approve that course or not. And then at the end of the year, or at any point during the year, teachers could see how many hours they have for the year. They could see if their hours have been denied for any reason, whether they didn't sign the sign-in sheet or whatever. They could see how many credit hours they were given for each of their courses, and they could print a report. And over the years, it turned into, there is now a registration system, so there is the county administrators can put a course in and limit the number of people who can attend, and people can pre-register for that. It prints sign-in sheets for that particular instance, and then people can fill out their sign-in sheets. People who have attended courses that way can automatically fill out a survey. So there's attendance surveys that go with these courses that ask simple questions like, was this valuable to you? You know, whatever. They're customizable. And it's honestly a really nice piece of software. It works very well for the people that are using it. They enjoy it. Obviously when when my current employer decided they didn't want to host this anymore and they gave it back to me, the people who were using it were like, dude, we don't want to go anywhere else. We really like this system. And so I said, okay, like if you're willing to pay, I'm willing to host it and maintain it and continue working on it. And so that's where we're at. Last week, I moved it over to my servers. I got everything in place and up and running there. Did a whole bunch of testing to make sure everything worked. I bought a domain name, all that sort of stuff. And it's up and running. I've seen schools have started back this week, and I have seen activity. So there are people logging in and checking it out. We set up redirects for the old URL because the old URL was a subdomain. The current URL, if you want to go look at it, is pladtrack.com, PLADTRACK.com. You can go kind of look at it. You can't log into it. I mean, I guess you could register. I don't know what would happen if you did that. Like there's only a couple of institutions that allow registrations. And they'll just deny your account. Like, you just won't be able to do anything. You won't be able to see anything or whatever, put in attendance or anything like that until your account is verified. But you can at least look at the tool. You can look at the help documentation, which gives you screenshots of all the things that educators see. It works. The problem with it is it was very much a learning project. It was the second PHP project that I worked on. I did not understand web development at that time. I had done lots of HTML work, and CSS work, but I hadn't really understood web development. So there's a lot missing. Like, there's not even a basic routing framework in place. So when you click on links, it's like, pladtrack.com/views/ whatever. Like, I tried to organize things structurally so that it made sense. But these URLs become these big masses of whatever, folder structure .php, right? Whatever. Each page has its own logic built into it. It's not a separate thing. There's no controllers running. It's an embarrassment for me as a developer. It's not an embarrassment as a piece of software. Like, if you are a user and you don't pay attention to that URL bar and you walk through the software, it works really, really well. It has automatic registration. It has, you can reset your passwords. There are email verification requirements. So if a user signs up, they use their email, they have to verify their account before they can do anything. There's a process for that. There is hidden registration. So like I said earlier, if you go on there and you try to register, there's only 2 institutions that will allow you to register without a code. There is a way for institutions to lock that out, and they would have to give you a link. And so this magic link lets you register for their institution or for their county, their school district, whatever you want to call it. So there's a lot to it that is very well done, and I'm very proud of it. But there's also a lot to it that needs a lot of work so that I can be proud of the package, right? I'm currently not proud of the functionality. I'm proud of the functionality of the site. I'm not proud of how the site is architected. It really needs a lot of work. And there are some features that I never did quite figure out. For instance, the county has the option to enter, county administrators can enter bulk attendance. So they can say, here's a class, and I'm just going to click on people who attended that class on a list of all of my employees. Currently, that's literally a form that has 1 line per employee, and there's a whole bunch of data that goes along with that. So if they click on it, so in reality, that form, say they have 300 employees, is like a 1,200 item form, which PHP does not like. It's this big long scroll. It's ugly as hell. I need to figure out a better solution for that. There is a course list that it's organized by date, but as a user, it's kind of confusing to look at, and you don't really have a good way of determining if you've registered for overlapping classes. I would like to add a calendar function so that it's much easier for users to see what they've done. Those are 2 major things that I want to fix. But overall, I really want to rework the architecture of the site. actually build a router into it so that it has, you know, sane URLs, and something that I can, you know, and controllers where I can break the code away from the views, and I can say, you know, I can point to it and go, this is a PHP project that I'm proud of. That's what I want to do. Whether I will do that anytime soon, I don't know. Currently, there aren't really enough users for me to put a whole lot of effort into it. There are, but I would like to seize this opportunity to try to sell it, to find more users. Before I do that, I want to be less embarrassed by it. So, between my day job, my side job, my hobbies, writing, I want to figure out a way to put this somewhere and go, all right, I'm going to spend some time working on that so that I can try to sell it. We'll see what happens. If you do go take a look, please let me know what you think of the landing page, the about page, that sort of stuff. Let me know if you would improve it in any way, shape, or form. I would love to have any input you can give me so I can make it a better product. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know sounds smart is parameter. It is a noun meaning a factor or variable that must be taken into account when solving a problem or understanding a situation. The weight of Paul's grand piano is a parameter that must be taken into account when building the mansion's new music room and ballroom. Parameter, P-A-R-A-M-E-T-E-R. Is that an uncommon word? I feel like that's a very common word in programming, but is it an uncommon word elsewhere?